time. Technology is changing the way we live our lives and the way we do business, and the coffee industry is no exception. So today, the theme I want to explore together is technology's impact on coffee. And we can begin by looking at the consumer experience. You see, we can use technology to create more immersive environments for our guests, drawing them deeper into their journey with coffee, which is why I built this table with its 4 embedded displays that will hopefully act as a helpful guide. But I have to be honest, I've noticed that 3 aren't working, and I'm really sorry about that. So when I do refer to the screens, this one is working, so you can take a little bit of a peek there. But I think this illustrates the importance of actually a barista's skill working with technology to deliver exceptional experiences. So it's all on me. Now you'll notice on there that your order for today has already been placed. We'll start with espressos, then milk drink, then signature drink, using 2 different coffees. And the first of these is an exemplary, naturally processed geisha. As you can see on screen, it's from the Janssen family, produced at Los Alpes, and it's a natural process. Now for me, Panamanian coffee promises, especially naturally processed, promises tropical fruit. And this coffee delivers in the espresso course with a note of pineapple. And what I also love about Panamanian coffee is its complexity. And complexity is something that when roasting, I always try to preserve. And I've used to roast this coffee the Roast L100 Plus because of its AI-enabled automatic crack detection system, which made it really easy for me, roast after roast, to achieve a uniform development time ratio. Excuse me. Now, as you can see on screen, that development time ratio was 14.8%. This is where I found the most complexity in the cup. And I also used a relatively short total roast time of 4.5 minutes, extending the glass transition phase and increasing porosity and solubility without sacrificing clarity or texture. Now, if we've managed to source exceptional coffee and roast it well, then it's time to brew. For our espressos, I'm using a 20-gram dose, a 45-gram yield, and a contact time of 27 seconds. It's a recipe designed to maximize sweetness while maintaining balance. And I've come to realize, after trying to brew exceptional espresso for 8 years, that one of the biggest problems that we face is understanding how resting roasted coffee can affect peak flavor potential, which is why I've been working to use technology to create a simple solution to this complex problem so that we can brew exceptional coffee every time. So as you can see on that screen, when we place roasted coffee inside a sealed container with a CO2 monitor and adjust for some other variables, we can chart the release of carbon dioxide over time, which acts as an effective proxy for the degassing period. And you can see this coffee's degassing chart there on the right-hand side. And this is kind of interesting and useful as a barista, but it only really becomes truly useful when we add in sensory information, which is why my team and I cup this coffee and 14 others roasted just like it every 12 hours for 3 weeks post-roast, looking particularly at flavor intensity. And I've charted that information there on screen in front of you. What we found was that for coffees roasted like this, flavor intensity peaked between 12 and 36 hours after the CO2 release stabilization point. That's the point mathematically defined when that degassing curve flattens out. And so I'm able to bring this extraordinary coffee to you right at its peak. At 103 hours post-roast, I'd like to walk you through what you can expect. And all of that information will appear on that screen. Your flavor notes will be yuzu, pineapple, and nectarine. And on the aftertaste, we'll have cacao nibs. Meanwhile, on tactile, the weight will be medium, and the texture will be juicy and silky. When I serve you your espressos, I'd like you to use one of those spoons to stir back to front 3 times, and you can put the used spoons just in those green glasses in front of you. Okay. I'll give you approximately 1 minute to evaluate, and then we'll move forward towards our milk course. There you are. Thank you. Thanks so much. Okay, another 30 seconds or so, judges, on that espresso course. Okay, judges, just another 10 seconds or so, so if you finalize up those notes, and then we'll get moving. All right, now for our milk course, we're using a different coffee, this time produced by Jairo Archila in the Cauca region of Colombia. This Castillo is honey processed with yeast inoculation and gives us espressos which are sweet and juicy. I've roasted this coffee with a 19% development time ratio to maximize solubility, and I'm brewing with a 19-gram dose, a 39-gram yield, and a contact time of 25 seconds, as that's where I perceive the most flavor intensity. Each of your single espressos is paired with 45 grams of my chosen milk, as this is where I've found these ingredients act together in the most harmonious manner. And that milk is the result of 3 years of research. You see, back in 2022, my team and I began tasting 196 different coffees, firstly as espresso and then in combination with 15 different milk bases. We evaluated, scored, and described those coffees in a similar way to how you're doing today, and used that data to train a basic but powerful machine learning model that helped us predict what might be the optimal milk-coffee pairing. And if you take a look on that screen, you'll see the result. So on the left-hand side, we can describe a coffee. Here I'm describing this coffee as espresso. And on the right, the result is a recommended milk pairing. Now this is an excellent first step for a barista seeking to create exceptional milk beverages. But we must still use our sensory skill and knowledge to determine whether this is the best possible option. But in this case, this milk worked really well with my coffee. And as you can see, it is a blend. 70% minor figures oat milk, which has been freeze distilled, and 30% high-fat Jersey Herds milk. I've steamed it to 48 degrees Celsius for a drinking temperature of 42 degrees Celsius, where I've found the most flavor clarity. And when I serve you, I'd like you to stir in a circular motion with the spoon right to the bottom 6 times, and you can put your spoon again in that green glass. Please wait until I run you through the flavor notes, and I'll let you know whenever you can start evaluating. So those flavor notes will be chocolate mousse, apple crumble, and cherry liqueur. And once you've got those all down, you can begin evaluation. Thank you. Thanks very much. Feel free to go ahead and begin your evaluation now. Thank you. So far, judges, we've seen the power of technology in creating more immersive environments to an extent for our guests, in roasting more consistently, in understanding how resting roasted coffee affects peak flavor, and here in creating exceptional milk beverages. In our final course, the signature drink, we'll explore one further application of technology before turning more broadly to examine what it means for our industry. But for now, just enjoy. We'll come back together in about 45 seconds for our final course. Thank you so much. All right, judges, another 10 seconds or so. Thank you. Now, for our signature drink, I trained an AI using all of the sensory research and data that I could find. I then worked together with that AI to design a new repeatable framework for designing exceptional espresso-based signature drinks, which I'd like to share with you today. Using this coffee, again, it's the Castillo from the second course, and as you can see, it brings us the 3 key characteristics on which we base our signature drink. Firstly, aroma. Now this coffee, as an espresso, has an aroma which is predominantly stone fruit, florals, and some apple. Secondly, tactile. We're predominantly concerned with weight here, and this espresso's weight is medium. And thirdly, we have flavor. Here we have green apple and passion fruit. Now on that first point, aroma, here we're looking to add an ingredient which amplifies the underlying aroma of the espresso, rather than just mask it. So I found that plums were an ideal addition because they share the same levels of the key fruit floral monoterpenes, linalool and geranium. Now, we take 500 grams of plums, which you'll see on screen. We blend together for 15 minutes at 50 degrees Celsius with 10 grams of pectin X, that's an enzyme for breaking down fruit fiber, and 100 grams of sugar. We then simply strain that through a paper filter to give us essentially plum juice. Now this interacts with the espresso to modulate aroma, and yet because we're serving this cool, we'll perceive it only as a flavor modulation. And it modulates that note of passion fruit into a new note of framboise, which is a Belgian lambic beer made with raspberries. Now we'll come back to the amount that we're adding in just a moment, because for now we're going to look at tactile part 2. Now, as you can see on screen, depending on the weight of the espresso, sorry about that, we apply different culinary techniques. When the weight is medium, we fat wash. Now, fat washing introduces trace lipids which do 2 things. Firstly, they act as microlubricants, which aid texture, but they also help carry through delicate aromatics, which is why I've decided to fat wash that plum juice. And I fat washed it with melted butter, as I found that this worked best with this particular ingredient, plum juice, in bringing through its delicate flavors. So we take 500 grams of that plum juice, and we combine with 100 grams of melted butter, mixing well for 15 minutes, and then we we place in the freezer overnight, and the next morning we can take it out, remove the fat layer that's formed on top, and simply strain through a paper filter. So today I'm adding 80 grams of that fat-washed plum juice, which does 2 things. As I mentioned, it gives us that new note of framboise, but also aids in creating an exceptional texture. Now, the final part of our framework is flavor. And here we want to introduce contrasting flavors to those found in the espresso. Now, we determine contrasting flavors using another AI-powered tool called Flavonomics, which uses sensory science and machine learning to determine both complementary and contrasting flavors to any flavor profile that you might describe to it. Now, I described this espresso in Flavonomics, and it gave me a list of contrasting flavors. And this is a good starting point again, but it's still up to me to use my skill and expertise to discern what is the best possible addition. And I found that adding 4 grams of the juice of preserved lemons to our beverage transformed that note of green apple into pineapple. And this is what I wanted to bring synergy right from our espresso course throughout our signature drink, uniting them around this shared tropical fruit note. Now we mix together in the hyperchiller simply by swirling and pour into these glasses, chosen because this is where I found the most appealing texture, along with 60 grams of ice, bringing us ideal dilution to aid flavor clarity and bringing our drinking temperature down to 8 degrees Celsius, where I found the most complexity. Now to enjoy this beverage, please wait until I call time, swirl once, and take 2 big sips. But let me walk you through the flavor notes first, which you'll find on screen if you want to consult. We'll have that framboise, that's that raspberry lambic beer, orange sorbet, and pineapple. Okay. It's been a joy to begin to introduce you to my interpretation of how technology impacts coffee. And yet, as we've seen, we still need the human to be at the center of any service experience. Thank you. Time.
And that was our 4th semi-finalist. Please give them a massive round of